So these bad boys right here are the Anker Soundcore Life Q30 headphones. They're available right now. They boast high-res audio support, insanely good battery life, and customizable active noise cancellation. And the crazy thing is, they only cost 80 quid. And literally, my reaction when I heard that price was, F me, 80 quid, is that all? And yes, definitely feel free to stick that one on the poster, Anker. And now I absolutely abhor those YouTube video thumbnails where the person's all like, oh. But these things are actually worthy of one of those gormless gurning sessions, because really, the 80 quid, it's insane what you get for your money. So I've been using the Anker Soundcore Life Q30s for the last few days as my full-time headphones, and definitely impressed, as you can probably already tell. So here's my full review, and for more on the latest greatest tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So let's start with the design. And the Soundcore Life Q30s, they're not among the lightest headphones around there, but it's not like having a cement block sellotape to your head either. Thankfully, you've got plenty of padding around both the headband area and the cups themselves as well, so wearing them for hours at a time is perfectly comfortable. The only problem is there is a leather style material on the cups, so your ears do tend to get a little bit sweaty if it is warm. Yum. And I gotta say, I'm not a massive fan of the look of these things. Certainly on my baldy bunts, they look absolutely freaking enormous. Kind of reminds me of that scene in Back to the Future where Doc answers the door with that massive steel contraption strapped to his skull. And there doesn't appear to be any kind of official water resistance rating or anything like that with the Soundcore Life Q30s, but I took them out in the rain several times and they were absolutely fine. Now, pairing up with your smartphone is nice and simple. You've got NFC support in here, so you can pretty much just tap and go. It takes a few seconds. If that doesn't work for you for whatever reason, you don't have NFC in your smartphone or whatever, then just dive into the Bluetooth menu, find the Q30s in there. Again, nice and quick and simple. And absolutely no issues with connectivity either. I've been testing out the Anker Soundcores for 40, 50 hours, something like that, and not a single stutter or stammer that entire time. And that includes when I was out and about as well, although obviously I didn't really get the chance to properly stress test these bad boys by taking them to a crowded area, because that's not such a good idea anymore. And if you want to ditch the Bluetooth and actually get a proper wide connection on the go, no worries whatsoever. You've got an actual 3.5mm headphone jack on there, sorted. When it comes to controls, you do have a series of push buttons along the edges of the cups, both the left cup and the right cup. No swanky touch controls like you get on more premium efforts from the likes of Sony and Bose, but again, for 80 quid, what do you expect? And the controls are pretty straightforward. You've got your power button as well as a toggle for the noise cancelling mode on the left cup, and then over on the right you've got the volume buttons and also a pause play button. If you want to call up your smartphone's voice assistant for whatever reason, you just got to long press that pause play button, and a long press of the volume up and volume down buttons will skip forward or back a track. And the buttons all work as expected. There's no real delay between pushing them and actually getting a reaction or anything like that. But the problem is the buttons all feel absolutely identical. They're basically just long, thin plastic strips. And they're all so tightly clustered together that it's very easy to mix them up. Certainly the first few days when you sort of get into grips with the Soundcore Life Q30s, you definitely have to spend a bit of time with them and really get used to the button arrangement. And definitely would have preferred it if they were a little bit more spread out or just had more distinctive button designs. Now, one of the best features of the Anker Soundcore Life Q30 headphones is the fact that you've actually got active noise cancellation for under £100, which is still fairly rare to find. Not just active noise cancellation as well, it's actually multi-mode ANC, so you've got 3 different settings. You've got indoor, you've got outdoor, and you've got transport, which is the most hardcore of the 3 ANC options for really reducing those low frequency rumbles like trains and passing cars and things like that. Very handy when you're commuting. Not that that's going to be much of a problem in the UK anytime soon, but it definitely works really well here on the Q30s. Very good at reducing that really annoying background noise. And naturally, the Soundcore Life Q30's ANC isn't quite as good as more premium rivals, the other Sony WH4s, things like that. So vocals, for instance, aren't really dampened. You can quite clearly hear conversations going on all around you, but for under £100, the performance really can't be beaten. Now, the way you actually skip between those 3 different modes is using the Soundcore app, which you can download for free from the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store as well. So as you see, with noise cancellation active, you can then skip between transport, indoor, and outdoor. And thankfully Anker has built in a widget as well, so if you find you're constantly changing between the different levels, you can just use that instead of having to go into the app every time. And you could also use that widget to turn on the transparency mode. Otherwise, you can also use that dedicated side button beside the power button to cycle between ANC, transparency, and just knocking the whole lot off. And that transparency mode, like other transparency modes on other ANC headphones, just uses those external mics to actually feed in everything that's going on around you straight into your ears, so you can quite clearly and easily have a conversation or hear an announcement without having to take your headphones off. And I found that certainly a really useful feature to have when you've got a pair of true wireless earbuds and you don't want to be constantly plucking them out of your ears, pushing them back in again and everything. With headphones, I find it's less essential because you can just go like that, basically. Oh, I think I just On mic as well, great stuff. And back in that Soundcore app, you also have a full equaliser feature, which is always great to see as well, with a whole bunch of presets to cover basically every genre, as well as audio books and podcasts. Any bass fans out there will certainly love the bass boost feature, though it does tend to sort of drown out some of the other elements of the music, shall we say. And you've got a full-on custom EQ tool in there as well, so you can create your own pattern to suit your own personal taste and also how knackered your ears are. And there's also a very charming sleep mode feature on here, which is basically a form of relaxation tool. And this can play all manner of peaceful sounds like wind chimes, bird song, farts, and you can basically play all of them at the same time if you want as well. So it sounds like birds are merrily chirping away as they're flying through gale force hurricanes and rainstorms and all sorts. And it does bill itself as a sleep aid as well, but frankly trying to get a bit of kip with these things strapped to your buns ain't exactly the most comfortable experience in the world. You might as well try sleeping in a suit of armour. But anyway, so far the Anker Soundcore Life Q30s have been pretty effing marvellous, because it would be all for naught if they actually sounded like arse. But the good news is that audio is deeply detailed thanks to the 40mm drivers that Anker has stuffed inside of these things, and of course the output is fully customizable, as I mentioned before, using that equaliser tool in the app. Just for the standard sound settings, I found I could pick up on all the finer details of really complex tracks from bands such as Issues, some of those instruments that sometimes get lost in the slightly more muddy output from headphones that aren't quite as capable. And no issues with the call quality on these bad boys either. You've got those dual external mics, they pick up on your voice nice and clearly, and they manage to sort of help to muffle some of the background noise a little bit as well to make sure that you come through nice and clear. So lots and lots of highlights to mention, but the best part of the Soundcore Life Q30s undoubtedly is that insanely good battery life. I've only recharged these things once the entire time I've been testing them. You get around 35 to 40 hours of use, even with the ANC active. And apparently if you knock that ANC off, just have them in normal mode, you'll get around 60 hours of life, which I haven't even been able to test because it just drains so slowly. So certainly among the very best Bluetooth headphones at any price point as far as the battery life is concerned, and when they are finally drained, you do have a bit of Type-C action for recharging them again. And if you do find that they're drained just before you're about to rush out on errands or whatever, the good news is you can just slap them in to charge for about 5 or 10 minutes and you'll get hours of use out of the things again just from that. So again, just brilliant stuff. So anyway, that is my full in-depth review of the Anker Soundcore Life Q30 headphones. And as I say, I wish the design was slightly sexier, but again, for £80, considering you get that pretty decent ANC, you're getting great sound quality, fantastic battery life, they're nice and comfortable to use, and you've got good strong app support as well, not to mention that dependable Bluetooth connectivity. So that's what I think, but definitely let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do poke subscribe, ding that notifications bell, and have yourselves a lovely rest of the day. Cheers everyone, love you.